Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, wherever you're listening to this. Welcome to another episode of Debates Never Die. I am your host, the man who's going to have to declare bankruptcy in about 3 weeks from all of these games I've been watching. Malcolm, aka Sheiks, with me. I have Rindai Gondure. Always great to have Regans on the pod so we can get some Madrid praise. We've been running low on some Madrid praise on this podcast. So it's always good to have him here. And of course, LLM, the homestay on D&D. Gentlemen, how are you doing? Regans, how have you been? It's been a while, man.
Now it's been a minute, but I've been good, bro. Good to be back.
Of course. And Kanya, how are you doing, sir? Things are good?
I am so grateful for no Babatunde. I'm glad that was a 1 week thing. You know, you gotta be grateful for the small things in this life. But overall, I'm good, Sheiks. I'm good.
Nah, I need to hash a few things out with Toby. Babatunde will return. He will return. Speaking of Babatunde had some bars in that last episode about the Club World Cup. And I must say, I feel so vindicated because I think we can all agree that the level of enjoyment or excitement in games has just constantly gotten better. So yesterday, I was at the Bayern Munich Flamengo game. And Oaks, I really think, I know the time difference is a big peak for like back home or even for myself, yeah, to be fair. Brazilian Serie A, I really think it's one of the most slept on gems in the world because those fans. No, guys, I understand. I've never experienced an bro, and it's like like you see a lot of like. I'm just gonna speak to what exists in the world. There's a lot of slander for like female football fans and stuff like that because they feel like they're just following trends, guys. The way these hands. First of all, they're some of the most beautiful women you've seen in your life. Like genuinely unbelievable. I got Google Translate for Portuguese to have it out, and they are there crying, singing the Flamengo anthem, like word for word. No, Brazilian Serie A. So I just wanted to start off with my recap of the game, if that's fine with you guys. I don't know if you guys saw the game itself, but Flamengo. I think I was wrong saying you can't support two teams. They almost moved me. To the point where I said no, I have to, because like in every facet of the game. No, Kanya, yeah, no, you may have been right. No, but to be fair, it's different continents. Like I'm never gonna have to say Flamengo or Arsenal. That's always my beef.
That doesn't matter. The point is that if you watch a team for long enough, it's possible to form the attachment. It'll grip you in a way you can't explain. You don't want it. I will always love Saudi Arabia. I will always love it. What can get 2022?
Let me say this.
That game.
I believe you can have a Regans relationship with Arsenal. That you can do. Where it's like if they win, you're like, yeah. But if they lose, you're the first person roasting them. You can do that. But to say like I support two teams, it's still look. I'm definitely navigating it.
Now that you feel this way, especially if one of your teams sucks, or if your team's just out of your mind for quite some time, it's very easy to form attachments to teams, bro.
Yeah,
very easy.
No, that is true. Did you guys watch the game by chance, or catch highlights or anything for that game, Flamengo Bayern?
Yeah, primarily highlights. First things first. The thing that stuck with me the most is, look, Manuel Neuer has been so good for so long,
guys.
Like he might not be the best in the world right now, as you can argue, right? But Neuer's been like top 3, top 5 keepers for 13 years. That is absolutely insane.
I think who's the greatest keeper of all time?
I have it with Neuer.
Neuer, Rindai?
I'd have to think about that one, bro.
Dude,
Hey. Neuer almost won Ballon d'Or, and the ultimate ahead of Ronaldo and Messi. Let me tell you something. Buffon and them couldn't have done that. I know he's ahead of Casillas. 110% better than Casillas.
No, for sure.
You know, for sure. I agree, Casillas.
You can make arguments about whether or not he's better than Buffon. Buffon's legacy, how people see Buffon in the game. You know, it's a difficult thing to try and say why is Neuer better, right? But in my obviously, I watched Neuer for longer.
Yeah.
No, he's up there. And no,
sure.
on the point of Buffon, I think the respect he gets from his peers is also a different level.
Yeah,
the way I look at it is like Buffon is Federer and Neuer is Djokovic. Like if you look at pure stats, pure numbers, it's hard to say it's not Neuer. But like in terms of, I think even the way,
impact,
yeah, even the way Buffon was in goal, like when Buffon made a
His
save, it just
aura.
felt, the aura, like yeah,
Yeah,
people like
yeah, the
going a
aura,
bit
yeah.
crazy. But no, Kanye, like I was me and a few we had best thing I love about football matches is like you have random conversations with people, and when Neuer had that save, that close up save, I was like, me and my friend Melvin that I was with were just like, what the fuck? Like, how is that? How are you saving that? This guy's too
That
good.
was a
And then
crazy save.
some random Brazilian just in his broken English says, nah, this is ridiculous. That guy was about 52, 50. He said he started watching Anoya at 07, 08 season, 08, 09 season,
At Schalke.
and at Schalke. And he's like, I started watching this guy when I had just finished college. I now have like a kid or something. He was like late 40s. Like I now have a kid that's about to start primary school, and he's still
He's
going.
still doing this, dude. It's
Mm.
insane.
It's
It's insane.
ridiculous. No, it's truly ridiculous. No, but like in terms of Bayern Munich holistically, if we can look at it like from a tactical viewpoint, how are you guys feeling about company so far? Like it's been a season, won the Bundesliga. I think you could say Bundesliga was their main priority. How are you watching the highlights, watching whatever you've caught throughout the tournament? Let me start with you. How do you feel about this tiki taka, dynamic style of play that he's implemented? And who do you think? Do you think Olise and Musiala can like be their Robin and Ribéry type players who lead them into the next generation?
I think it's a tricky one, bro, because I think in football, especially right now, like there's just so many good teams. You get what I mean? So I don't think
Yeah,
this is like a slander to Musiala or Olise, but to be the guys, you have to be better than Yamal and Rafinha. You have to be better than Vinny Jude. You have to be better than Salah and the boys. You have to be better than the PSG boys too, right?
mm,
So I do rate company. I mean, I think he's done a decent job, but I think the quarterfinal will definitely be a big test for them against PSG because I feel like we just need to see if they can do it in big games now. And I feel like this is the biggest game for them in a very long time. And it's a one game. That's what I like about the Club World Cup. It's one game. You get what I mean? So everyone has to be on it on the day. But I do think if they beat PSG, it'll be very good for their confidence. So I guess we'll have to see.
yeah. Kanye, do you feel the same way that they're kind of in like a half in, half out type era into like in terms of like how do I say? You recognize their brilliance, but you don't know if they're dominant. Do you also feel that way about
Mm.
Bayern at this point, or do you think they are those guys, and we're just going to see that ascension that typically happens with these oaks?
As of right now, they're absolutely not those guys.
Okay.
They're a very talented side, very well drilled. I can understand now why the Bayern hierarchy said, "Okay, we can't get these guys. We should go for company. We should take the risk on him." And he's done incredibly well to have stated it. There's been no talk of like dressing room uproar about his lack of experience. Like they believe in him,
Mm.
right? Like everyone's taken to him, and that's impressive, right? And I'm happy for him. BLM as always. Shout out company. Um, but in terms of
This
his
guy.
act, in terms of how good he actually is, how good Bayern actually are, I think they lack a lot of maturity. They lack a lot of maturity, and they are
Yes.
still kind of one
Mm.
dimensional. They can't really break down teams that have like the same level of player quality who just want to sit back, like who just want to sit deep. They're not, to me at least, a supremely powerful defensive side. I think a team that can go blow for blow with them beats them. Like if like they are capable of making use of their advantages, they're gonna beat more. They're gonna win more like most of the games they play because they're always gonna be favorites because they are Bayern because they have like the super talent. But in terms of when it really matters, a Champions League semi-final against the new look City, I think City does them. I think if they had to
I
play PSG in the past season, I think PSG would have taken them apart. I think the fact that Barca beat them the way they did is probably the best example of what I think their weaknesses still are. Like the defenders are not like the best defenders, and they're not set up in my
sorry,
eyes
Barca
for that
beat
big
them.
win. You don't remember when Rafinha scored a hat trick?
Wasn't that is that what no, is that table Champions League, not knockout stage,
Yeah,
right?
table Champions League,
Oh,
table
okay, got
Champions
you,
League.
yeah, got you. Okay, with
But
you, with
but
you.
but you get my point. Like when they
Yeah,
found a team that had the firepower to actually hurt them,
yeah.
they get taken apart. The fact that the second best team in Bundesliga last season was Leverkusen in the season when they clearly fallen off quite a bit. I like they are still there's question marks for me. There's question marks for me around what has to happen. But he's a young coach, and there has to be question marks, right? The time in which he proves himself, in which he really asserts himself as that guy, is still to come.
I think it's I agree with what you said. I mean, I spoke about like just how many big dogs there are in football now, and if Bayern was this way even 3 seasons ago, I think they'd be a lot more
Mm,
dominant in the world because now they're teams with
There's
firepower,
guys,
right?
bro.
Like, they're guys. When
yeah.
The teams are
when
gonna
when
hurt you.
when Ryu was naming the guys, like the names, I'm like, shit. They are, like, we're talking about who's next, where the star players they've emerged now. So it is. I agree there, and it is a thing of if they play a team that is more talented or has more in their reservoir, then they might also see them losing those games. And it's funny because as I was watching, I was literally thinking to myself, Kane left Spurs for Spurs because that is what we just said is literally what Spurs were for the majority of his time. A good team, but if they come up against a team that has more assets, they're going to lose unless it's Man City for some reason. But like generally
Mm.
speaking, that would be the case. And it's a my takeaways from that game were it's a very raw team in terms of their implementation or understanding of the game holistically. Going forward, the
Mm.
identity is there. Oh
Yeah.
goodness gracious! Like I posted it on the DND page follow up, and throw in routine where they did like a rotation. Olise comes short, first time flick, long ball, completely overfield, over like 5 Flamengo players. Goretzka gets the ball. They're on. Now it's a counter attack. And then once they go forward, they get Flamengo to drop all the way back and they recycle the ball. So you can
Mm.
see the drilling is there. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
again,
They
it's
can't.
just
I don't think
like
they can manage games.
they
I think
can't manage
that's
games,
the thing.
but I think company wants it this way. And this may sound crazy because it's the most un-Bayern Munich thing ever, but I think Bayern Munich are embracing a bit of Madrid, right? Like where
Mm.
Madrid will like intentionally make a game open. They will
Mm.
intentionally say, come fire at us because we want your players forward so that we can now
Yeah, so we
attack
can hurt
you,
you. Yeah.
right? And it's like when I was watching, there'd be times where Jonathan Tah and Upamecano had a good game together at centre back. But as there was one incident where I forgot which podcast it was in the UK where they said you can't have two black centre backs, but it
It
played in
was,
my
it
head.
was, it was filthy fellas.
Filthy,
Respects.
your specs. It played in my head because there was a time where Upamecano stepped because he stepped for Kane's first goal. It was a very good step. He stepped, won the ball, gave it to Kane. Kane does great goal from deflection, but great goal. And then I think Oaks got a bit gassed because there was a time when I'll get it to Flamengo now on how they play, but there was a long ball, and what they would always do is Gerson, who I had no idea was playing for Flamengo, but Gerson would like do this incredible thing of going from right center mid to like secondary striker. So there'd always be a drop down for him to pick up the ball, and they'd
Mm.
build and they'd just collapse and completely build going forward and just kill them. And Upamecano and Tab, I don't know who they thought they were, but they thought they could both step on both guys. So Upamecano stepped on the striker, and Tar tried to step on the drop down for Gerson. But then
Mm.
they're Brazilian, so they just one lob over him, and now they're in. And they almost scored off of that, right?
Mm.
And it's little moments like that where I look at it and I'm saying, there's no way Vincent Company, the most
Can't see
one of the best center backs like in Premier League history, doesn't know what's going on. I think it's very much intentional because he wants the game open because they've really become a threat in transition when it comes to their wing play or even just like how they crash the box. I will say, Serge Gnabry, sir, it's time to go. I don't know if it was an
Howdy.
off day. I
No, no,
think
no.
so.
He's had a lot of off days. I don't think
It,
Gnabry has been himself in at least 2-3 years.
No, he looks depressed. No, like he genuinely looks like this. I don't know what's going on in his personal life, but he looked so heavy on the pitch, dude. Like it was because there's so many moments where Bayern would overload and then have him coming running late, but like he just never had that assertiveness that he used to have, right? When he had that breakout
Mm.
season, I think 18, 19,
Mm.
it's gone. It doesn't seem
Mm.
like it's there, that drive or that desire. So he needs to go. Sane, thank you for your service. Get the hell out of here. But company, this Bayern team, Rindai, you made a good point. The next round of games against PSG is going to be a big game. It's going to be a big test because PSG right now, I'm kind of scared, guys.
Yeah.
In terms of
I thought they were going to be, like in every cycle of Premier League, of Champions League winners, there'll be the one team that's kind of like, oh, okay, like Inter, in 2011, and then it's back to the usual Madrids and bosses. I thought
mm.
PSG were going to be a transitionary team, and then Madrid would come back or City or whoever. This team
Mm.
is yet to stay.
No,
This
no,
team,
no. They are like that.
they are
They
like
just
that,
they are
indeed.
they are just like they are the best team in the world right now.
without a striker. Do we need to have? Okay, we'll go to PSG now. I just want to touch on Flamengo too, because we have to give Felipe Luis his daps, guys.
Bro, serious coach.
This is a serious coach. No, like
coach.
I wouldn't mind him at Europe's elite, because like what I saw, I couldn't believe. Again, the only team I've seen play Bayern with this much confidence is Real Madrid in my life, and Man City that one season when they beat them. But it's like
when Roger scored that banger.
Yes. The left foot. That's the left foot curler, right? The left curler.
Yeah.
Yes. So it was what they did was they played with false wide players. I need to get their names. Araujo and Gerson, and some guy named De Arrascaeta. He is their guy.
I know you're talking about.
He's there. No, like the fans went crazy for him.
That name does me as well. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, the hands were going nuts for him. I'm like, oh, actually, they're going insane. I made DM him on IG to say, "Big bro, send him my way." But anyways, they had this thing that they would do. Oaks. It was unbelievable. Where it's not anything we haven't seen before. We've all seen a 4-2-3-1 with false, inverted wingers, Bayern or whoever. But the confidence for Felipe Luis to tell them, man mark, we're playing man on. There was no 2v1-3. No. He said, you see that the guy in your position on the other side, man on, right? So it was man on marking, and they won some duels, they lost some duels. But then going forward, the easiest way, and Madrid exposed Bayern Munich in 2012 with this. After the penalty shootouts. Maybe it was 14, 15 when Ronaldo and Benzema took that picture. I think it was 15, 16, one of the two. You want to hurt Bayern outside, kill them on the flanks, right? And then get Oaks to crash the box, because all of Madrid's goals, if you look at them, it's out wide, cross in, goal. And Felipe Luis said, nah. We're not doing wide play. You Araujo, Gerson, invert. And then Gerson would do that secondary striker role. And he told them, play through them. I saw these guys. I saw the keeper get the ball. And he told Kane, and I don't know if it was Kane closing or Gnabry. He did this. He said, come. He invited him to press. And then they built the rotations, the possession, the confidence. Flamengo would finish in the top 10 in England. I really believe in the Prem. They're finishing in the top 10 because they are so well coached. These players are, bro, the confidence. No, I truly was wowed. I think Felipe Luis is probably next in terms of in terms of like joining the Xabi Alonsos, the Artetas of the next generation of coaches. And to think he's 39. He's 39. No, man, that was truly a crazy experience. Flamengo, you have a true sympathizer in me. Unfortunately, they've gone out. But moving on to PSG, guys, where does Luis Enrique rank all-time managers? Can you please just give me an understanding of how you guys are feeling about him? Yeah,
no.
You don't have to give me a specific, but like a range. Wait, what? He's won 2 trebles. What are we waiting for?
Let me tell you something. If I got everyone in D&D and I said, okay, Oaks, we have Messi, we have Neymar, we have Suarez. We could...
Lebone cannot. Lebone and Toby cannot, bro. They can't.
Hey.
They cannot.
We all have our specialties. Lebone is handling the legals of the club. Toby is handling the finances of the club. We can run an organization
far away from footballing operations.
Not far. We're gonna have conversations together. We all have our niches. Obviously, mine is scouting. You're gonna hit up the tactics, but we're all gonna make this work. My point is, if you put us there and you told us these are the players you currently have, what I'm making sure is gonna happen is that we have a succession plan. Like we know the next player we're gonna get. When Neymar wants to leave, as much as Dembele was close to that option, I'm getting somebody else instead of. Dog, my point is, as great as what he did was, I put it in the same that specific achievement is in the same bracket as Zidane's like hat trick of Champions League trophies.
No, it is. I agree with Kanye.
If you have a better team than absolutely everyone, and then you win everything, it's not the same as when you win it the way Tuchel won his Champions League. It's not the same as when you win it the way other teams do. Like they are.
Whoa. Okay, let's fight here. Better team than everyone. Barca had not reached the Champions League had reached one semi-final in like 3 years before he came.
Congratulations to him for breaking that cycle. Well done.
And MSN were there the season before. MSN were there the season before.
And they had a full year to gel because Suarez was banned for the first 6 months.
Okay.
Until then.
He loses Xavi.
Full year. And
he loses
and Neymar was also in his first year at Barcelona.
He loses Xavi. He loses Xavi. Signs Rakitic. And you're telling me you would have made that decision. You. Oh, not even you. Anyone on this podcast would lose Xavi Hernandez and say, let me bring in Rakitic. Please lie to me.
It doesn't have to be Rakitic. I can find somebody else who can be as good as Rakitic. It is possible. I could have signed somebody. I could have. I'm not saying I win it that year. I could win it the year after. My dog, listen, it's not to say that winning a treble is easy. The reality is, no, that's not what I'm saying. But my point is, if you have a team of a certain level, where I rate that accomplishment is not going to be the same as when somebody else does it with less. And I think that's perfectly reasonable. Because if we were to do it that way, if you win it, and then it's undeniable this accomplishment, bro, why is Zidane not top 5?
Because Zidane didn't do it with PSG afterwards. That's what I'm saying. It's not just Barcelona in isolation. Because you're talking. No. Hold on.
If Zidane wins the World Cup with France in 2030, then does he go top 5?
No, because he hasn't had a prolonged career of coaching. At that point, it would have been 4 years of coaching. Luis Enrique's got some miles on him. He's got like a genuine resume, right? That you can look at and say this is impressive. But that's besides my point. What I'm saying is, you spoke about circumstances of winning, and you rightly called out Tuchel with Chelsea, because I was, to this day, it pisses me off that they did that. Where do you rank PSG on that rank? Say there's a C, B, A, Z tier.
B.
Where is PSG? You're fucking mad. You're mad, bro.
Bro, Toby called it in Jan. Toby called it in Jan. Toby
says things. Toby just says things.
Okay, cool.
Toby plays FIFA, has a good game, and will come on the group and say like, oh no, this guy's really good. Toby just says words, bro.
Okay, cool. But by the time Arsenal drawn against Madrid, I said the team to win the Champions League is going to be Arsenal or it's going to be PSG. My point is, it's not that they were massive underdogs when they did it. He helped PSG finally get over the line, and he did it without Mbappe, he did it without Neymar, he did it without all of those players. 110%. It's an incredible thing he did. He also had the coins to get Kvaratskhelia in Jan.
No, but my point is, no one would have signed him. That's the thing. It's like
no one would have signed Kvaratskhelia.
Kvaratskhelia was being.
Oh, I said Kvaratskhelia was better than Nani, and Oaks fought me. By the way,
that's left field. The point I'm making is Kvaratskhelia at that point was not being treated as a necessary. People were confused by the signing. I saw tweets saying this guy thinks Kvaratskhelia is going to be the guy to bring them. He was being slandered. He had been out of form at Napoli for like 4 months.
He was not out of form at Napoli for 4 months. That is not what was happening. That is not what was happening. That is not what I believe. That is not what I believed when I saw him last season. When I was the one saying, "Hey, dog, this guy is better than Nani was." The fact that was a crazy idea at the time is a very good example of the fact that, technically speaking, I'm saying recruitment-wise, I believe at a certain point in time, the expectation for what you do is here. And PSG's squad is of that level. The fact that he got Dembele clicking the way he has is incredible. The fact that last season, obviously like just before they lost to Dortmund, but they were in a Champions League semi-final. They were one game away, a bit of luck away. You know, less Jadon Sancho witchcraft away from being in a final. In any case, they almost won it last year.
No, they don't say they almost won it last year.
This PSG team was extremely good a year ago.
Okay,
it was
extremely.
It was.
PSG's been extremely good since we were in grade 11, dude.
And he got them over the line,
right? So what I'm saying, but what my
it's B plus.
So using your logic,
ask me what's A plus.
I don't want to know what A plus. Using your logic, using your logic, we cannot dap any coach that's coached Barcelona, Real Madrid, AC Milan back in the day. So Ancelotti basically has no career. No, because Ancelotti has coached the best clubs at every tenure. Literally, AC Milan was the best Italian team when he was there. Madrid are the best Spanish team is in the Champions League specifically when he's in Spain. So we can't give him daps. We can't say Ancelotti is a top 10 manager of all time because he's expected to win because the team is good.
Not all of his Champions League wins are A tier. Only one of his is, and that's the Decima. Besides that, the rest of them aren't 8-tier Champions League wins. They aren't.
Rindai,
I don't think so. I don't think so.
A lot of teams. A lot of teams have won absolutely incredible Champions League titles that have been more impressive than both PSG's and both Barca's treble win. That's what.
Okay, so Rindai, which season was it when Benzema scored the hit against Chelsea when you guys came back like every round of the Champions League?
21-22.
So
that definitely was impressive, Kanya.
How is that not?
Come on.
Kanya, bro, that is like one of the best Champions League.
It was very impressive. Oh, the Champions League has existed for a very long time. Let me tell you what my ones are, so I can clarify this, and then you can tell me exactly which one that one knocks off, right? Because obviously your metrics could be different to mine, and I understand it. I'm not gonna hate on it. I'm willing to hear you guys, but just hear me out, right? For me to be A+, right, it's got to be like top 5 or like top 10, and obviously we're gonna do from 2000s onwards, right? Because I did not watch the 99.
Yes, of course. Or we can include, go 99, because we know the treble. We know the treble.
There we go. And the treble one, the treble one's up there. They did it in 2 minutes.
No, but wait. You're talking about, no. You're talking about, Kanya, you're talking about teams. Yes. Wait, pause.
That's treble win.
Pause. Please, can I speak?
In terms of how impressed
you just...
Let's hear Kanya's list. Let's hear your list.
What's your issue?
Yeah, you're right. Finish.
Gary Neville can say whatever the hell he wants to for the rest of his life, no matter how much we disagree, because he was part of that team. He was.
Give us your list.
Okay. Istanbul 2005. Yeah, fight me on that.
Yeah, of course.
Surely not. Okay, perfect. La Decima. That's there.
Why?
That's absolutely there.
Why?
From the jaws of defeat against the Simeone side in the type of game they expect to win. They've been 1-0 up and they had the best defense.
But that's one game, though. That's one game.
How, dog?
But
against Bayern before? Wait, sorry. La Decima wasn't impressive. Is that what we're doing?
No,
that run with Di Maria's playing as a CM.
No, it was impressive, but I feel like...
Wait, Kanya, hold on. Let's get order. Rindai, please, respond.
Okay, I'm just saying, I feel like for La Decima, we were favorites, bro. Especially against Atletico. Obviously, the way it happened with Sergio Ramos scoring the last-minute header was great. But we were favorites, bro. We finished Bayern in the semi-finals, dude. We thrashed them. Like, there's no way... I didn't
finished Bayern in the semi-finals.
Yeah.
That's part of it. That's part of the run, is it not?
No, it is part of the
run.
Your
criteria. My point is your criteria...
Go on.
Go ahead, Rindai.
No, go ahead.
No. You can respond. You're part of the... No, because I'm gonna move the point. I want you to just respond to that.
Okay, no. All I had to say was I feel like 21-22 was way more impressive because literally every time we were down and out. Against PSG, we were down and out. Against City, we were down and out. Against Chelsea, we were down and out. The final was literally the only game where we went down and out. And even then, we were playing an extremely good Liverpool side. It wasn't, that Liverpool side is definitely better than the Atletico side we played for La Decima. 100%.
I agree. And it took Courtois having not his... Obviously, we know he did better. The sequel was better than the first one. But it took him being literally having one of the greatest finals performances at the time to stop Liverpool from doing anything. Like, what I was going to say is, Kanya, your criteria is moving now. Because first, you were saying... We started this all off by you saying, if a coach has all the weapons in their arsenal, you're not going to adapt them for these wins because you're expected, right? There's an expectation for you to deliver, right? So with Man United 99, he had 4 strikers, 3 of whom are Premier League legends. How can that be considered an A+ final from the perspective, not from the spectacle of it? Because this is what I'm saying. You're conflating the spectacle with the circumstances surrounding. Not from the perspective of the spectacle, but in terms of the team on display, because realistically, Man United had the second best team in the world at that point, right? You can argue Barca at that time. I think Rivaldo was there cooking a bit. Madrid were on a bit of a downturn. Raul was cooking, but Madrid weren't like cooking. Hence why they did the Galacticos in the 2000s. But now I know they just won the Champions League, I think 3 seasons prior. But they were, Madrid have those weird periods when they're not like where they should be. So it's like the squad was really good with that team. And again, going to the La Decima team. I agree with Rendai. Like that final, incredible. Madrid's team, the second, probably a top 5 front 3 in history, like ever, like literally, like the beginning of that front 3, worst name ever, but beginning of those guys. So I don't know how you can say that's an A+ final. No, that nickname that sucked. I don't know.
It's an A+ achievement, right? And look, I'm willing to make the concession that because in the same way PSG had it, you can maybe both, even that one, maybe that has to be moved down because my other picks are going to be Chelsea 11-12.
11-12.
What the fuck do you mean they won at the Allianz? They beat Barca at the Nou Camp. All that's ridiculous. They couldn't do that again. And then obviously I've got Tuchel's other one as well. It's just like, what are you talking about, bro? Like you didn't have the team for this. He came in halfway through the season and he made it work, right? Then additionally, I also have Pep's treble as ahead of PSG's one as well.
Why?
How?
Dog. What do you guys?
No, wait, hold on. Can I pause?
That's the one that reset everything. Everyone said, "It's just Pep. It's just Pep, and we just have to hope."
Can I? But Kanye, this is what I'm saying. Your criteria is moving, bro. Because you can't discredit Enrique on the basis of a squad, right? And then dab Pep for 22-23. He had like 6 wingers. Like he had 6 wingers of the top 10 wingers in the league. Pep had 4 of them. Like, how can we now dap him and say that's an A+ achievement, but then look at like Enrique? I believe Enrique had more to solve for that Barca team than Pep had to solve for the City team, and more than
Wait, I'm not counting the City team. Just so we're clear.
So then, why is it an A+? Why is it an A+?
No.
See, now I'm confused.
The Barca one, the one he did then. Not City's treble.
Oh, okay.
Why the hell do you think I'd count City's treble?
That's why I was confused as well. Okay. So you're talking about No, but Rendai also. Yeah, I also thought you were talking about City. That's why I was like, dude, what do you? Oh, you're talking about 0809, the
one that
sextuple.
Everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, calm. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Now, but
cool.
Also, in our defense, you went chronologically with all the other ones, and then you went 21, and then so we thought 23 was going to be where you're going. Okay. 09.
Okay.
So those are your 5.
There we go. And that's what it is. And unfortunately, all PSG achievements for me are watered down to some extent, dogs. Like
why?
The amount of coins. Like the same reason a City treble win is not up there for me is the same reason the PSG treble win is not there.
So then, but then see,
the resources, bro.
Okay, so Madrid.
It's not to the same level. Madrid, dog. The fact that let me hear you. Wait, before you go at me. The reason why you have refused to hear any shout to Sergio Ramos being the guy is because there are always flaws in every Madrid team. There are always these massive gaps in these teams that makes the success still way more impressive than these teams that have the perfect team from top to bottom. Madrid do it, and you said it yourself. Madrid lie. Somehow they find a way. They don't do it the way these other teams are doing it, the way the oil clubs do it, bro. And yes, Madrid's advantage in La Liga is completely unfair. But the way it's actually happening, it's still through a bit of something else that's just intangible. Just something, a player that's not meant to have done it, who does it somehow in a certain moment in time. Nacho Fernandez can be starting.
Hold on. Rendai? Yeah, but sorry, Rendai.
Yeah, no, but I just wanted to go back to the Enrique point, right? And this is why I agree with you, Sheiks. Because I do feel like sometimes, especially with his Barca Champions League win, I feel like sometimes when you're expected to win, it's even harder for you to win. Because there are very few times, there are very few instances in world football, like even last season, for example, right? No one could come forward and be like, yo, this team is the outright favorite to win the Champions League, right? But there are very few seasons where we know, okay, these are the favorites, right? And Enrique was one of them. He was the one who won it. And I think when Hansi Flick won with Bayern too, which is why I also dapped him up for that, because I feel like Bayern were the favorites that season. But there's so many years where, especially we've seen it with Pep and City, so many years where we're like, nah, dude, these guys have to win the Champions League. And they fold. And so I feel like just because you're expected to win and you win, that shouldn't be used against you. I feel like that's that's even more impressive to me.
I agree with Rendai a lot there. I wouldn't say it's more impressive, but I would say there is a level of like the additional pressure to deliver is so detrimental to your squad when it's time to deliver, and that's actually the point I was going to make, because I wanted Kanye to just, because I've got his list here, and the first thing I was going to point out when you speak about the intangibles of Real Madrid, I hear you, but that's because you're a fan. Personally, I don't see it that way. Because fuck those niggas, with respect. Fuck those niggas. I recognize what Real Madrid are. I'm not deluded. Like, that is the greatest footballing club to ever exist. I'm not stupid. Even there when I was at the game and they started that one chant. What's that chant you guys do? I clapped at them. I thought that was like this.
Madrid.
Yo, it was too much voice. I won't lie. I was there just chanting. And then it was funny because when Valverde missed the pen and I started celebrating, they looked at me like, dude, like you're clapping with us. No. I won't lie. The aura of Real Madrid is very serious, right? So I'm not deluded here. But what I'm saying is, like, you're talking about like the how storybook it is when they win, and I agree. Like, why is Joselu scoring? why is the guy who played for Stoke, that's been a Madrid fan his whole life, scoring in the final? I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is those intangibles you're speaking to don't necessarily apply to every like football. If I'm watching a game of football, I'm not necessarily clued into that aspect of things. What I'm seeing is a team who have had a dominance on European football since 1895, right? Winning again. That's all I'm seeing. So when you talk about like resources with PSG, for every additional million or 10 million PSG has in hard cash, I would say Madrid has in favoritism, or it's even in terms of like pool and financial resources. I view it as the same. So the only contention I have with this list, because there's a very clear trend with your top five, which I must dab you for because it shows your consistency. United 99, Barca 09, birth of a new era in football. Both of those wins, right? What that 99 United win did for English football, and what that 09 Barcelona win did for world football, it was revolutionary, beginning of a new era. I agree with you there. Chelsea 12, Chelsea 21, underdog story. I thought you were going to, I would say Porto 04 needs to be here. Because if it's talking underdogs,
it can be. It can.
Yeah.
I think the point with the names I was listing, right? Because I could have said Liverpool 18, 19 as well.
Right. Liverpool 05, you also said, yeah.
Yeah. Is that even if you remove the Madrid ones, I'd be happy to hold that too. To point out that the teams that win it a certain way, and you guys are right. I can't fight the fact that to overcome that pressure is in its way like a massive achievement. But when the teams that don't have those resources do it, when Porto do it, when Liverpool do it, when they did it, to me it is a greater achievement.
No, it is.
Those are the real stories of the Champions League. It is. Things just like, bro.
I agree with you, but no, this is what I was going to say, and I'm happy you said you can remove Madrid, because that was where I was going with this. That La Decima 14 win is the same thing that 14-15 Barca win was. It was a team getting over the hump in different ways. Because for Madrid, it had been so long since you'd won the Champions League.
Like 12 years, 13 years.
12 years. The year that I think the only year of my life when I have been a Real Madrid fan, or even like just not even a fan, a sympathizer, was 11-12. Because that Madrid, what Mourinho did, and me and Rendai have spoken about this so many times, what Mourinho did with that 11-12 team was unbelievable, right? So I genuinely was sad. Although I was resharing the memes on Facebook about Ramos's penalty being on the moon, I did laugh at those. I was upset because like everything about that team, for me, embodied what football should be. They honestly, this may sound a bit blasphemous, but they remind me of like 06 Brazil. Like in terms of like, it's just free flowing, mate. It's just that one counter you scored against Ajax. I will never forget. Like my jaw dropped. I said, "What the hell am I watching?" Right? Poetry in motion. So I was gonna say that La Decima team is to Madrid what that 14-15 team is to Barcelona, in my opinion. I know it may sound a bit different because Barca had just won the Champions League 3 years prior with 10-11, but I think. When else in history can you say this is the best three forwards we've seen and they delivered? to Rendai's point of delivering when you are expected to deliver. There have been so few times in life, other than maybe Spain on an international stage and maybe Brazil in the 90s or whatever, in the 70s, you so seldom see. So if my point is this, to just close this point, because we're on a whole tangent. If Madrid is on your list, Barcelona has to be on your list for A+ tier. I'm okay relegating both, but if Madrid stays, Barca stays, because like I said, there's a constant theme here: underdogs or beginning of a new era of football. That's the constant theme for your criteria. Porto should be there. 04. I agree.
Okay. Then we drop Madrid, but as long as we aren't putting PSG there, we cool. Then we're in line.
PSG is like A minus, A.
B plus even.
Crazy. So can you going back to the topic of conversation here? Enrique for you is not a top. Is he
top 10?
A1
top 10? Top 10.
Rendai?
Top 10 from 2000 to now. Top 10.
Enrique, where do you have Enrique for your greatest managers of all time?
Yeah, top 10 as well. Top 10 for sure.
Top 10.
But even that, like top 10 all time, I'd have to.
What are you gonna say? Wait.
Oh, wait, you're talking about, wait, I'll tell you now. Right now, you're saying top 10 in the world right now.
No, in the world, right now, it's definitely top 3. He has to be top 3 right now. Like,
okay.
As it stands right now.
Yeah.
Top 3. Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say, you're strict.
No.
Yeah, no, bro. I was gonna say, Kanya. I think Enrique is like, okay. Let me separate conversations. Legacy wise, nowhere near. In tactic, he's the only guy that can chop to Pep. I truly believe that. Like in terms of.
In terms of, let's hear you.
No.
You're crowning him now. You're crowning him crazy.
I truly believe this, dude. Like, I'm seeing, in terms of squad building, but it's also in terms of maximizing players. There's a reason why Suarez's best season was under Enrique. I think Neymar only has one season more better in terms of total numbers than under Enrique. Messi's an alien, right? Now I'm looking at PSG. Kvaratskhelia, we knew what he could do, but what he couldn't do is, I think, why people were feeling a bit weird about him. There's very little he can't do now. Dembele, all of a sudden, right? Like, and for me, that's a massive revelation, because Toby, Toby hates such random players. Toby's hatred of Dembele is the same hatred like an African uncle has of like the nephew that wants to rap. Just like a level of disappointment. Like, this is what you're doing with your life. Like, no, like Toby really viewed Dembele as like the lost cause, bro. And now he's here reposting, considering buying a shirt. Like, that's a small metric and a joke, but the thing I'm saying is, like, I look at Dembele, I look at Hakimi, Mensch, like Oaks, Ruiz, who I actually tweeted about this, Kanye. I said, that is, for me, that's your best ever shout for a player, because I knew what Ruiz could do, was worried about what he couldn't do. He can do everything now. He can do
6, 8, 10. Doesn't matter.
He can do Vitinha can do everything. João Neves can do. So for me, it's like, when you look at how he tactically sets up the player profiles he signs, how he utilizes the players that he has, I really don't think there's another manager in the history of football that can talk to Pep Guardiola other than Enrique. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win that conversation, right? I'm not insane. But what I am saying is, if you tell me, oh, we're losing Pep and we're getting Enrique, I'm not mad.
The show rolls on.
I'm like, okay, Pep can go. If I'm a director of sport, Pep says I want 50 million. I say no, we have to let you go. Enrique says, yeah, I'll do it for 30. I'm not mad, like, personally, and that's what I mean. Like, I agree, the legacy is not there. Let's see what he does. If he goes back to back Champions League, we will revisit this conversation, and I'll have a lot more to say, because I know you're talking about resources, Kanya. Another thing football has shown me is very, very few people know how to utilize those resources. Those resources become a crutch, and they actually hold you back. That's what PSG was for 2 decades. Tabani, one of his greatest misses, but the miss that was real was when he said, I don't know how he said it, but he said PSG will never, he made a joke, it was very funny. Basically saying PSG will never be a serious club, right? And the reason you say that is because of like we all know the rich oak that's tired. We all know the racked guy that can't get any hands, and it's because he's too racked.
His soul,
His soul
has
is
nothing.
gone. There's nothing. What do you mean I need to work to get this hand? I'll just go. You know what I mean? So it's like PSG had that, and they overcame that only because of Enrique. And when you look at like nuanced balance, I give him so much daps for that. So let's see. To Rendai's point, and this is actually
you've done that very nicely. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you because I think in the same way, City were never going to win a Champions League without Pep. What did you spilled all the water?
my water, dude. I'm so hacked. I'm so hacked. Sorry, guys.
So glad that's on camera.
I'm so hacked. Anyways, no, but like legitimately, like that's what I'm saying. This is a good segue because the next thing I wanted to say, just to wrap up the Club World Cup. How important is this tournament? Now, Rendai, I understand I was gonna say, Rendai, I understand your answer is dependent on if Madrid win it or not. But let's just try and be objective here for the next 5 minutes. And like, how important to you guys? Because the more I watch this thing, the more I think clubs want this. Go watch Harry Kane celebrate that goal. He let he speaks. He let it run out, bro. Because Flamengo were pressing them. I'm seeing Palmeiras run on the pitch, and I'm seeing Maresca run and do the Mourinho. Like, I think this tournament is important, and I think it should be considered a chip on like a resume. Rida, how do you feel about that? You agree?
No, I agree.
It's a chip, but like, cheers.
I feel like no. I feel like the only people who are undermining it are the clubs that aren't in it, bro. That's how I feel personally. Yeah, that's how I feel personally.
Yes.
But I do feel like it's a big deal, bro. Obviously, it's the first time with the new format. But there are big teams in the competition, and it's happening like once every 4 years now. So I mean, it is massive, and I feel like, for example, a team like PSG, if PSG win this Club World Cup, I'll definitely take Enrique way more seriously than I do right now. Not saying that I don't take him seriously, but I will see that as cool. You really are the best in the world. You get what I mean? But
yes,
if
I hear you.
If another team,
I feel
if another and if another team wins it, I'm also going to be looking at PSG like, okay, cool, you guys are unstoppable, because I know Madrid have to go through PSG, Bayern have to go through PSG. Yeah. So if you guys are really the guys, everyone's healthy. You clearly want to win this. Let's see. So yeah.
I completely agree with you, Kanya. I saw you did a bit of
the coins. It has to be a big thing because the money involved in it is out of this world. The players have to be committed to it because, matter of factly, that's going to change a lot of what teams can do financially off of a random 4 weeks that wasn't there before. And I think that obviously the Champions League makes you lots of money. Winning the league makes you a lot of money. Winning makes you a lot of money, right? I do think, just in my head, and because it's the first time we're seeing the Club World Cup, for me right now, there is just a bit of it where it's just like, yes, you did have to beat the best in South America. You did have to overcome another set of European teams that you didn't face in the Champions League. And it is a big thing to accomplish. I just think that there's parts of it, and again, due to like scheduling, due to like the timing of the tournament, the fact that it's so hot. There's so many different factors that add to how difficult it is, right? It's not an easy thing to win. It's not a meaningless thing to win. Not at all. I just think that, to me, its importance is tainted by what the Club World Cup actually is. And it's not as impressive as a league title. It's not as impressive as a Champions League title.
But it's more impressive than an FA Cup, and it's more impressive than a Carabao. We agree, no?
Definitely. Sorry, Sheiks, before you go, I also wanted to say, like, so I feel like
it's a tier. It's a big trophy. It is a big trophy. I can't deny it.
Yeah.
If it can change a club's entire season as a result, I can't not say it's a big trophy. But it's not the same. If we talk about like a great player and you tell me he has a Club World Cup, I'm gonna tell you to go eat a sock. Because no.
Yeah, okay. But then at the same time, if they say someone's never won a trophy and they say, no, he's won the Club World Cup, it's a chip.
He's won a cup. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
Yeah, no.
But don't tell me that to put him above anyone else.
Sorry, Rinda, yeah?
Yeah, I was saying, I feel like this first one is a bit weird because we didn't really know too much about, the structure, like how do teams actually qualify for the Club World Cup. But I feel like going forward, it will be respected and recognized more because certain teams,
For
they'll
sure.
be like, okay, cool. We might not have won the league. We might not have, won the Champions League, but because we did this, that, and the third, we qualify for the Club World Cup. That's another opportunity for us to win a trophy.
Yeah, I
So
think
yeah.
I think it's kind of been the perfect storm of Inyatting the tournament. As you pointed out, like people didn't know the format. Then on top of that, it's in the middle of this whole argument about fixture congestion, and then the icing on the cake, it's in America, right? And now you're hearing, I won't lie, hearing Americans talk football. Oh my gosh, it is the most the things I was hearing. So like I remember like it was so funny. The first 35 minutes of the game 25 minutes of the game. Oh, let me say this. After Bayern scored two, Kane scored the second. Flamengo were on top of Bayern Munich for a good 15, 20 minutes. It was just wave after attack, Bayern's attacks being neutralized. And I'm speaking to my friend and I'm saying that. Then these Americans behind my banners here, and they get into cold wars. These guys love their cold wars. And they now start saying the opposite of what I'm saying, but very loud to try and say to me, you're wrong. So then as the half is closing, the stats come up from the game, and it's like Flamengo possession 58, shot attempts 10, Bayern 4. Like every stat is in Flamengo's favor. And then as that comes up, you just hear, oh, well, I guess we're wrong. Like everything about this tournament is Mickey Mouse, just from how it's been presented to us. No marketing.
Superior play of the match.
Superior play of the match. Yeah, I hear you. I hear that, Renai. Good point, because the first one is looking a bit shaky. But moving forward, this is a homestay in football. And I think it's one that's welcomed, because the thing I was going to make when you talk about the importance of it to the listeners back home, because I've been seeing so many South Africans say, it's a waste when they're speaking about European teams. But now when Dortmund scores 3 and loses, I mean, when Sundown scores 3 and loses against Dortmund, now it's, my Sundawana. They're there doing their things and saying, we're so proud of you boys. Run, win. Why did you? So clearly we care. And that's the whole thing. And this is where I love the South American fans, because they never once, we have been so, it's so funny because like all of that pro Africa shit when it comes to football, out the window, out the fucking window. And now we subscribe to a European mindset. I understand a European fan saying, oh, this doesn't matter. Until they get pressed in a game, they're going to have that mentality of, it's just another tournament. Then they get pressed. And, I spoke to Chelsea fans. Now, after Flamengo gave them 3, they're watching this game against Benfica a bit more shook, right? So now they care. But like, I'll never understand African fans in this tournament. Like, it's an opportunity for us to show ourselves. And this is where I appreciate South American fans. They never once subscribed to the European mentality, because these fans have cared. Boca Junior fans from game one cared. Monterrey fans from game one cared. So it's like the importance of this tournament, when I said I believe it will save football, I think cannot be understated. I think its importance is derived. Its importance is derived from who wins it. I think it's baseline, as you said, a second tier cup. I completely agree with you there. But I can see it for some clubs. Like if Arsenal got into this tournament because we were runners up in the Champions League and we got into this tournament and we won it, I would say it's probably like the third or fourth most important trophy we've won in our cabinet. Genuinely.
No, no, we're aligned.
Okay,
It is a big thing. It is a big thing. But like I said, they are just tears to it. Is what it is. And again, the thing I keep harping on is just that the way that this tournament has been structured, the way it's come about, the reasons for certain things, the reasons for that transfer window to try and move some certain Saudi players, quickly to make it more marketable. There's a part of it that is just kind of artificial that I can't look past.
Yeah, fair.
Right?
You said this last episode.
It's the reasons that it exists. It's how it's been presented to us that is the ultimate issue with it. What the tournament stands for completely on its own, if you don't look at all those other things, it's one of the best things FIFA have done in the time we've been alive.
Yeah, completely agree with that.
They have finally found a way to properly showcase clubs outside of Europe. They didn't have that. Before. To finally have that, to really make it the global game.
10 out of 10.
I can't hate.
Yeah, no, shout out to you for saying that. Okay, now we can just quickly move on from this to transfers before we close. Let's give this about 10, 15. I want to start off with the biggest headline for me. Paul Pogba, AS Monaco. Oh, good lord, good lord. This is I don't think people understand, like, personally, if you do not know me before 2016, I don't think you understand what this means, because
Mm,
that guy to me embodied just you often see in football the evolution of profiles or prototypes. So
mm,
Messi being the evolution of Maradona, then you could maybe look at like a few other guys who filled the role of like 10,
mm,
slash secondary striker. Messi being the final form, right?
mm,
I'm trying to think of like the ball playing center back, right? From back
mm.
in the day with I believe
Beckenbauer.
Beckenbauer, then Baresi, or Maldini, whoever, Maldini obviously being a hybrid left back, to Ferdinand, to Van Dijk, like seeing that evolution. Why Pogba is so important in my
Ronaldinho, Neymar. Mm,
Ronaldinho, Neymar, the left wing, yeah.
mm,
So why Pogba is so important for me personally is because he single-handedly rejuvenated the lanky CM archetype. Because with the short CDM pandemic of '08 to 2013, it was very scary for any mid. I promise you, I don't know any statistics to back this up. Get the average height of midfielders during that time period for squads.
of the top teams. Yeah.
Oh my boy, they were
No,
tiny, because everyone wanted.
it's the diminutive playmakers. It's the Jack Wilshes. It's
Yes,
Arteta. It's Verratti. It's
and
yeah.
the reason
It's,
for that is because of Xavi and Iniesta. They
mm,
completely revamped world football as we know it. So Paul Pogba emerges 2014, well, really 2013 at Juve, but 2014 World Cup in Brazil, winning Young Player of the Tournament, was really where I think he put the world on notice. To then kind of, I guess Yaya Toure needs to be acknowledged here because he was holding it down, but he's not the lanky centre mid. Like, he's a different. Pogba's the pipeline of Vieira, Diaby, that type of midfielder. Yaya Toure is
mm.
like an experiment gone
A
wrong.
force.
Yeah,
A
where
force.
he started off with that archetype, but then he just bulked up so much and got so powerful. He kind of ventured.
He won a Champions League at centre back.
Yeah, he's kind of he ventured to a different level. It's like a limited edition lanky center mid of the
Mm,
same group, but he's like the Black Power Ranger. They always have like the red, the blue, the yellow, and then there's like the one episode when they unveil the Black Power Ranger. That's what Yara Toure was to this archetype. But like Paul Pogba, truly for me, he's a custodian of football. It's an archetype that has always existed in football. If you go back, Graham Souness and them was of this mold of midfielder. But now Pogba added the 2.0 version is adding the flair, adding the
mm,
the poise. Zidane, I can't forget him, of course, Zizou, right? But
mm.
like, so we'd seen that before with Zizou, but like seeing it in the modern game, oh my god! So him at Monaco, yeah, definitely going to start off as a sympathizer, may end up a supporter depending on how well they do in League 1. But no, I am so ecstatic that he's found a team. As you saw how emotional it was when he signed that contract. Kind
Thank you
of
for the
being
trust.
no being a Pogba admirer yourself, and an avid watcher of League 1, how do you feel about, just really quickly, how do you feel about Monaco's chances? Not necessarily to win it, because we've just spoken about the dominance of PSG, but to just have a competitive season. I believe Anthony Martial is also, has he been signed? Is that correct?
No. He's in Greece. I think there's
He's
just
at Athens. I've just been seeing a
there's,
lot of
there's,
tweets.
I think people want to bring him back.
Oh,
I
okay.
think people are creating the story for him. I
Ah,
don't
okay.
know. I haven't seen anything reputable that says to me Martial's coming back. I don't think he should come back. I think that Martial's story is done. It's been great, but let's face the front. Let's face the
Right.
front.
Right.
Monaco's chances, I think that because they signed Paul Pogba, their chances are through the roof. They finished third last season.
Yes.
I think they have a legitimate chance now of looking at PSG and saying, if you guys aren't as good, if the Club World Cup has any kind of knock-on effect on your form, if the wrong players get injured, we might the fairy tale story of Pogba coming back and winning a league title would be out of this world. I'm not gonna let myself get
Oh,
carried away and
I'd
believe it's
never,
gonna happen, but
I'd never shut out. I'd never shut up. I'd restart those conversations about him versus a certain midfielder being the greatest of this generation. If he did it, I genuinely would,
yeah,
because now then he has five Serie A's, World Cup, and the League
a
with
league
Monaco. Nah,
after not playing for 2 years.
for two, my boy, I would start these conversations again. Yeah, I agree.
No, brother, I will be there.
No.
Trust me, I will be there. But yeah, in
I'm
all
not going to
seriousness,
name the midfielder, but those
yeah,
fans better
they
get
know.
ready. They know.
But in all seriousness, Pogba coming back it's a feel good moment, man. If
Yeah,
you've watched football in the past 10 years, you can't see this and not be happy that he does have a chance to end his career on a high. What
as
happened
it
to him is
should.
terribly unfair from a
Mm,
personal perspective.
mm.
Everything that's happened, and it's all been in the public eye, right? Like, personally, I'd be devastated if someone just aired my DMs. I've gotten bad before. The fact that Pogba had to deal with his entire family, in front of the world, and he's had to just eat it up. Not He hasn't made statements about it, talking about it. He hasn't spoken about it at
Mm.
length. It's something that he's had to deal with on his own with his family, like those who he's still in contact with, to then just try get back to this thing that you love. Like when you see his reaction, it's just like, dude, like I'm glad that this happened for you. It's one of those things where like you really do appreciate how attached you can become to footballers,
Yes,
to
yes,
to
precisely.
their
Yeah.
journeys.
Mm.
It's not like they all give all these long-standing interviews talking about how difficult certain things have been for them. All you can do is imagine and empathize. And having seen Pogba, in so many different phases, to see him now at 32 years old, it's just like we've watched his career.
Yeah.
We've
No, I
watched this
can.
person as a teenager. We like That's a grown man now.
No,
You
you
know.
good. You can act. You're about to make me cry. No, genuinely. No, because like this is massive. Just as a fan, but I think also like you talk about the few good people in football. Not few. Let me not nuts the professionals, but like Pogba is just a good guy. You're speaking about his turmoils the past 3 years and how much it must have affected him because he's never
Mm,
spoken about his brother. The whole situation there in that
mm,
interview. He sat down. He never addressed it. So that must really fuck him up, as it did fuck up anyone. He never stopped smiling, man. Like
mm,
he's maintained that feel good feeling that Ronaldinho gave you to lesser
mm.
degree, but
Yeah, but yes,
so
he's
yeah,
he's he's
genuinely,
he's,
genuinely,
he's
just to
of that ilk. Like,
yeah, just
to
a good dude
because
smiling.
we're here
Yeah,
talking about a player who, for the majority of like our adult lives, that was a Manchester United player we're talking about.
yeah, abused by
and
Toby and them.
and it never changed how much I liked watching Pogba.
Yeah.
Never,
No, I
never.
watched so many Man United games because
I was I,
so
I was
many
excited every
to
time
watch
Pogba
him.
scored.
Yeah, no,
Every time.
genuinely. No, so like
It,
one of the greats of football will hopefully get the ending he deserves as his career draws to a close. Obviously these guys are playing to 38 now, so who knows how long he'll play for. I assume maybe 35. I think 3 more years. I think he'll play the next World Cup and
yeah,
the next Euros, and then probably call it a day. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm going to be really watching a lot more Ligue 1. And on the topic of Ligue 1, sorry, this isn't transfer news, but I feel like this is actually more important than the other stuff I have. Dude,
Context stuff.
you're on your other club, Lyon. So for those that don't know, Kanya is a fan of Arsenal, AC Milan, and Lyon. Those are his three teams. Oh,
And Real Madrid.
and Real Madrid, right? Of course, of course.
Mm.
Leon being one that you've always held close to your heart. How do you feel about this? I saw that PSG were they paid for Barcola. They've made the payments up
Mm.
front to hopefully help alleviate. Do you know if that helps at all, or like how much money you need to raise in order to appeal this thing? And also, just tell
In
the listeners what happened in case they don't know.
Okay, so in August 2025, the DNCG announced that Lyon needed to make a profit of 100 million euros in order to stay in Ligue 1. And Jonathan Texter, the owner, who has now resigned from the board of directors, um, for some reason said, no, we'll have no problem doing this despite not making any sales. Um, and everyone just kind of waited and was just like, okay, they're going to sell someone in January then, because that's what has to happen here. Um, Early, like near the end of the season, like Lacazette announced he was leaving. There are lots of conversations about like Leon's wage budget, just being easier to manage, and therefore certain things would work themselves out. That's not what happened. Maybe there was a bit of it banking on winning the Europa League and getting
I was
Champions
gonna
League money,
say,
for example. For
just to
to
add in there, yes, what I
yeah,
read online was he had internal conversations. No, don't know if this is true or not, but he internally was just gambling, essentially banking on Lyon winning Europa League or finishing in a top four
finishing top
place.
four.
Obviously, the last like 3-4 games, it kind of fell apart in the league, the
Mm,
race, and then that game against Man United. So he literally
yeah,
gambled with the sustainability of a football club. What a bastard!
yeah. So obviously things didn't work out that way. Shirky has now left for 40 million euros, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't by the deadline. Um, the Bacola payment, like it's not going to do enough for right now. Um, I would like to think that the NCG are willing to be lenient with Leon, because they are a staple of the league, right? It would do a lot more damage to relegate them than it would to just halt the season and then demand that certain players are sold. Like the fact that they're going to be stripped and they're going to have to like try and rebuild with less buying power. It's a terrible situation. It's a terrible situation. It's depressing. It's depressing. Like when you see that kind of thing, it does really highlight like some of the larger issues in football. Like we could have a full on episode about things like multi club ownership, like
Mm,
how unfair certain things have become because
yeah.
certain teams are just mismanaged. Teams like Valencia as well, have just fallen from grace because of their owners. Um, yeah, Leon. I don't talk about it honestly. This is
I saw an just a fan page, a Reddit thread where they were talking about there should be a percentage of a club that is owned by the fans, every major club in
mm,
the world. And
mm,
I kind of agree with that, especially the clubs. Look, the sad reality is if you support a club in a metropolitan city, a major one, you just have to hold
mm,
that your club is an investment. It's an investment vehicle,
yeah,
and I think that's okay because the magnitude of the club will always allow for greedy man owners to almost self like it self corrects because they will not live a peaceful life, right? We saw with the Glazers near the end with United. Like the man would be in LA and people are like pulling up on him, saying sell the club, pestering him,
mm,
bothering him. So the external pressure that can come from owning a major club, I think, is enough to self-correct, especially in this day and age, the greedy ownership. Whereas for smaller clubs, you don't have as much of a global footprint. I really think there needs to be something of like, okay, fine, 15 to 20% is owned by a club fund, right? Where the fans are, I mean, a fan fund where the fans are, maybe I don't know if it's necessarily say the ultras, whatever. They don't necessarily have to have voting rights, right? You can give them shares that don't give them the right to vote on certain issues or whatever, but just for checks and balances, because and I don't know how admittedly, I don't know how that would be overseen. The logistics of it, I haven't thought into, but because things like this are just sad, as you've pointed out. Like I wasn't aware of how the ownership was set up at Lyon, and I'm more privy to the whole Valencia situation. But
mm.
Olympic Lyonnais, should never be in this situation. Our childhood was them winning 6 in a
Every
row,
seven
seven
in a
in a
row.
row. That was our
Yeah,
childhood. Like that's where Benzema came from.
yeah.
I remember watching Liga before Lyon when I was like in grade 3, 4, 5. Right, every now and then it would be on DSTV. You just pop it on. We also went to France. We watched a game when I was like again like 12, 13. So like Lyon were the Man United.
Mm,
And it's just crazy to kind of see how far they've fallen, but not necessarily by the doings of the players. Like you guys
yeah.
did a good season. Like it wasn't the best, but it wasn't bad. So again, I agree. I think.
Ever since Olas left, bro, Jean Michel, and that's because of Texter.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I see. So that was kind of when things went awry.
Yeah, dude, and that was 2 years ago, bro. That was
Ah,
2 years
okay.
ago. Like, and he was known as like such a tough negotiator. He made everything so fucking difficult for teams to just take players
Americans,
from Leon. And then
Americans.
Texters come and it's just like, dude, like this is not a toy.
Right,
Like there's people who are from that city where that's the whole thing, bro.
right.
Like
And that
they
and
go to
that's the
work so they
sad.
can go and watch
They can
Leon on
watch the game.
weekends.
No, that's
That's
the
the
part
whole
that
point.
that's
That's
the
all they're
part that
doing.
you're losing a cornerstone of football. That's why, like, this is sad. I hope they can keep it up. Again, as you pointed out, the DNCG. I think they should make a concession because it's not a situation where they got relegated. It's not a situation where they've done anything wrong illegally. Like, it's none of that. It's pure mismanagement. And
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that can be resolved. But I did just want to get your point of view because you are obviously them. The silver lining for me though is Man United could end up as a championship team. Like seeing Leon potentially get relegated is
It
such a
puts things into
yeah, in
perspective. It
perspective.
could
Like
only
it's
help the same happen to Chelsea and United. Yeah, that would make
yeah,
it better. That would make it better.
no,
You,
genuinely,
you have to hope the misfortune follows the others.
yeah, no, because again in France historically it's Marseille historically, but
Mm,
Lyon in the modern era are of that ilk. So it's
yeah.
like if that can happen to them, I mean, we lived through the Juventus thing, and I remember the season they got relegated and how trippy it was, for that because they
So
were
they
a
should
home
just not
stay.
be there.
Yeah, they were a homestay in the Champions League. We played them
and
06.
and 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 they were shit for some
For some
time
time.
after.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro,
From
they played Fulham in the Europa League final.
yeah.
They
One
were
of
in
the
the doldrums.
craziest.
They
What
played
was it?
Bobby Zamora.
Bobby Zamora. Yes, I almost forgot
Juventus
his
fans
name.
know Bobby Zamora. They know Clint Dempsey.
No,
They
you
know
know
Breda
the
Hangeland.
yes, the Hangerland. That's what I was trying to remember the centre back. Okay, yeah, no, but yeah. So again, I guess just on a more funny note, Man United fans don't feel don't feel safe.
Don't
Eh?
laugh.
You're
Hey, don't laugh.
next. You're next. It could be you. But yeah, no, I'm pretty much good to close. Is there something else you wanted to touch on? You mentioned Chelsea. Also, I know you shared on them last episode.
Yes,
But
yes,
you
yes.
said you
We're
wanted.
back again. Just to wrap things up, I want to highlight something. Chelsea fans, as much as you might be excited about this season, the Club World Cup, Enzo Fernandez scored in Kunku, last minute winner. Dope, dope. Where's he gonna play next season? You reckon he stays? And you reckon João Pedro also joins? And you also managed to keep Andre Santos? No.
Who's
Oak's gonna have to
who's
shift.
who's Andre
Andre
Santos?
Santos, Oku was killing it at Strasbourg last season. He's an 8.
Oh, I'm thinking
He's
of
an 8.
ours.
No. Not that one.
Uh,
It's Andre with a Y.
ah,
EY at the end. Yeah,
oh,
it doesn't look
EY,
nice. Doesn't look
EY.
dope. Doesn't look nice.
How did you spell ours? Oh, just E.
It's just a straight E. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send you a comp. I'll send you a comp. I understand it's got something real.
Some okay.
Like low key, if we were like adventurous and you wanted to give Chelsea even more of our money, since we don't get tired of doing that, I'd say give them 40 for Andre Santos right now instead of Norgard. But needs must, function over form. That being said, Chelsea fans with Madueke, with Sterling still on the books, please do not forget Raheem Sterling plays for Chelsea. Mikhailo Mudryk, João Felix, all still Chelsea players. Please do tell me what you guys expect to happen to Esteval, Kendry Paez, and Giovanni Cuenda. I'd like you guys to help me build Chelsea squad in the next 2 years because I don't get it. And anytime I say it, I'm hating. Tando Mboma, hey, my favorite artist.
Hey, Charles.
This morning he told me it's over after João Pedro was announced. And I said, what do you mean? He said, Chelsea, 25, 26 Premier League champions.
That's crazy. That's
Dog,
crazy.
I want you to tell me, what does the squad look like next year? You guys are playing Champions League football, eh? It's a long Champions League. That's the one you guys are used to.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different. You have to rotate a lot more. That Conference League bullshit you're doing in 2-11s. No, sir. Cole Palmer is playing every 5 days.
Yeah, genuine.
He's jamming.
And that, you
90s,
you just
Oh,
touched
90s.
on my real
Hey,
problem.
man. Plus the Club
you
World Cup
just
fatigue.
you
I wanna
just
see
touched
you guys.
you just touched on my real problem with this Chelsea team, dude. It's like the way they're building this team is again with the mindset of two, as you said in the last episode, two starting 11, but obviously of varying ability. But like for me, it's just so nonsensical because they still don't have a tempo setting midfielder. They still don't have a final third midfielder. So they literally have no one. They have enforcers in midfield and they have end product players. They have no one to bridge that gap between the two. No one. Literally.
No. They'll tell you it's Enzo. Watch them. No, 100M Enzo. Just by the way. Dog, let me tell you something. Chelsea fans, you guys better pray. You guys better pray that Arteta continue to bail you out because you guys gotta sell a lot of players. You gotta sell a lot of players. This thing you guys are doing, it won't last forever.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced with this. And I started off last season by saying Chelsea could be. I predicted them to finish Champions League, which I was right about. But they have not progressed in the way because one thing that I liked about Maresca and how he was playing was results oriented, expansive, dynamic. On the break. But now it's like at this stage, the next stage of development is imposing yourself on teams for full 90s. I saw Flamengo push these guys. I saw LAFC push these guys. I saw Benfica push these guys. So I'm just not convinced with what they have thus far. And now signing more strikers, because you also didn't mention Gittins, who they just picked up too.
Oh, my boy. My son.
It's not, yeah, that's a good player. That's a good player. But now it's just like, again, there's no, and now.
Sorry. How many wingers do they have? I didn't even count Gittins. What the hell are we doing here?
Kanye, I don't know.
And he's also a teenager.
Dude, and now they're telling me that Cole Palmer is a midfielder. I'm just like, when did this rebrand? What is this rebrand? Let me tell you something right now. If you don't let Cole Palmer score goals, you have nothing. I really mean that. I'm not even exaggerating. You have nothing. You don't have a highlight reel, right? Like at least Coutinho, as much as you despise him, as the other
No,
guy
no,
who was.
he could dribble. He could
Yes, I was
move the
gonna
ball up the
say.
pitch. He
Yes,
could do it.
Coutinho could drive. Coutinho could give you a young spike too, some samba there. Cole Palmer, Chelsea fans, hear me. You have nothing. If you're not letting him be a final third player in terms of crossing and scoring, you have nothing there because his game does not translate to tempo setting, to dominance, like sustained dominance. It's all about final third action. So now I saw they're playing him on the left hand side to let again what we spoke about Kukureya being someone who has been identified as a game changing asset. I don't understand
50 M's.
what's going. Fifth, I guess that's why I don't get it. I really don't get it. And look, Gittins.
Fofana is 80, by the way. No
Oh my
idea where he
God,
plays in this team.
Fofana's there as well. Look,
Hey,
can I
man.
just say? Can I just say this, Chelsea fans? Our our issue isn't the players you sign. The players are good players. Our issue is why are you signing those players now? Like that's the thing that doesn't make sense. It's a jigsaw puzzle that you're intentionally instead of so what they do they buy a jigsaw puzzle, they start it, then they buy another one. And now it's like that jigsaw doesn't help this jigsaw. So what's the plan with these puzzles? They just want a cupboard full of puzzles. So yeah, man, Godspeed to those man, them, bro. That's Godspeed to them, man.
Let's wait.
Let's wait. Let's
Let's
wait.
wait, man. Hey, man. Hey, man. You guys will tell me. You guys will tell me. You guys know why Chelsea will be fine. All I'm saying is, at a certain point in time, if no one's buying these players and they're all just rotting at the club, and you're hoping to loan them to the next man, and someone's gonna keep bailing you out, and now you got the Strasbourg thing as well. Dog. At some point in time, the chickens will come home to roost, and I will be there. Sheiks, thank you very much for your time. I have one last question for you before we really close off on this thing. Not
Yeah.
necessarily, it's about Chelsea, but I don't want to make it too much about them. João Pedro,
Mm.
who is
What
he to you?
position does he
What
play?
does he do? What? João Pedro moves for 50M. You get what from him?
Gabby Jesus started this trend in Brazilian football. I don't want to say he started it because it's probably a derivative of something else that happened. I don't know what happened. But this positionless striker, look, I think you can expect from João Pedro what you can expect from Mateus Cunha in a favorable environment. I don't know whether or not Chelsea is a favorable environment. That's to be determined. But if you give these players everything they need to succeed, you can expect the same thing. Dynamic wing slash forward play, some goals, some assists. I think João Pedro also scores important goals from what I saw with Brighton, but sustained top level performance. Like I said about Cunha, exact same thing I said about Cunha. They are Jesus in different form, like different fonts. It's literally the same player, just executed differently. But the thing that makes Jesus stand out is who coached him in his formative years. So Gabby Jesus has, I think, a more tangible benefit to being on the pitch because of the IQ and understanding of the game he got from Pep. His finishing lets him down, but you'll never. Jesus is one of those players who can have no goal, no assist, and still have a great game. Don't know that about João Pedro. Don't know that about Mateus Cunha. They're guys who can have good moments in games, as I've seen with Wolves and Brighton, but I don't know if they can have a good game holistically. So I don't know why Chelsea are buying him. Genuinely, I don't even mean that as an inyat to the player. I think it's a good player. He's a good player, but I don't know what Chelsea is seeing him to say, oh, we need this in our starting lineup. Yeah, no, it's baffling to me. I really think that is one of the most unnecessary signings I've seen from a top club, probably, and it probably hasn't been that long because Man United are around. If I look at their transfer list, I'll find something. But like, yeah, I don't get why he's there, bro. Like, he's just gonna improve. You have Madueke, Neto. I don't know. Yeah,
Hey, man, I just like that Chelsea is spending a billion to essentially be Arsenal from in the time we're building a stadium. You guys are gonna build. You're gonna finish top four every year, and that's enough to keep the books rolling on. That's dope, man.
yeah.
I like the way things have turned around. You know, you guys are gonna finish below us more often than not. Spend like this is dope.
See,
This is dope.
now you're giving
I
them
I
clips. Let's
I
close.
I
Let's
like how
close.
things are going. Hey, man, I say with my chest.
Now you're giving
Hit
them
me,
clips.
hit me here. My chest is here. I got nothing to hide, brother. Nothing to hide. Nothing to hide. Sheiks,
Anyways, that has
thank you
been
for your
another
time.
episode of debates never die.
Debates
Now, when you
never
start
die.
to put that energy into the world, the universe, I have to close. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the episode. That question you asked them, I'm gonna put that in the poll for them to answer. What is the question you asked? Chelsea fans, yes.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that exact clip, put that on Twitter. I want to see their answers. As always, we've been your crew on D&D. Keep debating, and we'll see you at the next one.
Keep debating. Thank you, Chicks.